seated. The Executive Secretary, Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, and Chief Host of today's event, Dr. Chioma Ejikeme. You're welcome, Ma. Let's also make welcome our regulator, the National Pension Commission, PENCOM, ably represented by the head, South-South Zonal Office, Mr. Michael Ejiofor Ene, and his team. You're welcome. Let's also welcome a former Federal Permanent Secretary, Barrister Sonny Oswago, OON. You're welcome, sir. Please join me to welcome the Director, Civil Service Pensions Department, Mr. Suleiman Shelleng. Welcome, sir. Also here we have the Director, Pensioner Support Services Department, Mrs. Nneka Obiamalu. Join me to welcome the Director, Parastatals Pensions Department, Mr. Kabiru Yusuf. Also welcome the Director, Customs, Immigration, Prisons, Pensions Department, Alhaji Abdallah Abubakar. Join me to welcome the Director, Corporate Services Department, Alhaji Sani Mustafa. Also welcome with me the Deputy Director, Police Pensions Department, Mrs. Christina Adebote. Also here is the Deputy Director, IT Department, Ms. Judy Membu. You're welcome, Ma. Join me to welcome the STA to the Executive Secretary, Dr. Mrs. Magdalene Kadiri. Let's also welcome the SA to the Executive Secretary, Dr. Ihoma Ikemba Ifugi. We also welcome in our midst other heads of departments as well as staff of Ptad. Let me also very specially welcome our state pension union executives and other distinguished pensioners present here. You're very welcome. Please, a round of applause for yourselves. Welcome. We want to also welcome our virtual participants who have joined us for this event. I'd like to say that this event is being streamed live and the link is readily available across Ptad social media platforms. So you can participate even though you're not here physically. I'd like to also very specially welcome members of the Fourth Estate, members of the press. You're welcome. As we begin today's event, I'd like to crave your indulgence to please put your phones on silence or vibration mode. Please, so that we can thoroughly enjoy this program without any interruption. And without any further ado, I'd like to invite our chief host for this event, the Executive Secretary, Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, Ptad, Dr. Chioma Ejikeme. Please, let's welcome her with a round of applause.
Our very, very distinguished and revered pensioners, please permit me to stand on the protocol already established by the MC. Cross River, Akwa Ibom, MSREO, Idemfo, Abadie, Bayelsa, Seredo, Noah, Duo. Where are my Bayelsa brothers here? Seredo, Duo. Delta, Aje, Wado, Wado, Edo Wado, Obowie, also, Rivers, Noah, Noah. Thank you very much. Let me warmly welcome you all to this Stakeholders Forum, which we have organized to meet and interact with our pensioners and our stakeholders in the South-South zone of the country. Let me start by expressing my profound appreciation to you all for honoring our invitation. It is my sincere belief that our interaction here will be of immense benefit to us all. As you are all aware, the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate periodically organizes this kind of forum to keep our stakeholders updated on our activities, as well as our future plans. It is important that we carry you along with what we do, interact with you, and get your feedback. Ptad's determination to change the narrative as far as pension administration under the defined benefit scheme in Nigeria is concerned is irrevocable. And I would have to say, so far, so good. Change, they say, is constant, and positive change is what we all clamor for. Over the years, Ptad has consistently worked towards achieving positive and sustainable changes in the defined benefit scheme pension management. You may recall that the defined benefit scheme in the past was fraught with allegations of fraud, corruption, and inefficiencies prior to the establishment of the directorate. However, the controls and processes that have been put in place since the establishment of Ptad have contributed immensely to the change being witnessed in the management of the defined benefit scheme as it is today. The hard work of Ptad over the years is now paying off. And in the course of the presentations we're going to make here today, you will get to understand the enormity of the challenges inherited by Ptad at inception. You will then appreciate the sheer volume of overhaul that Ptad has had to carry out in order to get to where we are today. Our journey from field verifications, mobile verifications, to putting together a solid database of pensioners, benefit computation, ensuring the regular payment of monthly pensions, and paying long overdue pension arrears to pensioners has been a progressive one, filled with creativity, dedication, commitment, persistence, and milestone achievements. It is not yet a perfect situation, especially when we recognize that excellence is a journey and not a destination. However, it is a fact that giant strides have been made by Ptad and will continue to be made. Since our last stakeholders forum for the South-South region held in Uyo, Ptad has carried out a series of activities which include the completion of the payment of arrears arising as a result of the consequential adjustment to pensions as a result of the increase in minimum wage of April 2019. And this payment has been completely made to the 4 operational departments in the Directorate. We have also completely liquidated the 126 months outstanding liabilities due to ex-workers of Nigerian Reinsurance Corporation. We have completely paid the 219 months of inherited liabilities to ex-workers of the New Nigerian Newspapers Limited. We've also completed the payment of the 100 months of inherited liabilities to ex-workers of Nikon Insurance. We have completed the payment of 96 months of inherited liabilities to ex-workers of Delta Steel Company. We also implemented the 9.7% increment to ex-PHCN workers with the attendant arrears paid. We have also made part payments of the arrears owed NITEL-MTEL pensioners. And 2 weeks ago, we paid another 15 months arrears to 5,907 pensioners out of the outstanding 63 months of the inherited unfunded pension liabilities. The remaining half of the NITEL-MTEL pensioners will get their 15 months arrears payment very soon. And when I say very soon, by the grace of God, very soon. Through the unwavering support of President Muhammadu Buhari, Ptad has completely liquidated the inherited unfunded liabilities of all the defunct privatized agencies handed over to us, with the exception of NITEL-MTEL, which we are fully committed to liquidating. Following the launch of the I Am Alive confirmation solution and the successful completion of the pilot phase, where we tested the application on 50,000 randomly selected pensioners from the 4 operational departments and the 6 geopolitical zones, I wish to announce that Ptad is now ready for the full rollout of the solution. In line with our resolve to make the process as seamless as possible for our pensioners, Ptad has trained the pension desk officers of the various institutions and organizations where our pensioners retired from, as well as pension union executives from the 6 geopolitical zones on the I Am Alive solution. And this training is to enable them assist pensioners who are unable to carry out the I Am Alive confirmation on their own. The commitment of Ptad towards the welfare of our pensioners remains sacrosanct, and we shall continue our meetings and engagements with the various pension unions to ensure quality service delivery. As we enter the campaign and election season, it is pertinent that pensioners should engage the contestants at the federal and state levels to find out their position or antecedents in pension management and get a firm commitment from them regarding the welfare of pensioners. The need to have a president who listens to the needs of pensioners cannot be overemphasized. We cannot afford to go back to the time when the DBS pensioners were owed months of pension arrears and their needs pushed to the back burner. We sincerely hope that the next administration and who emerges as the president will be as favorably disposed towards the pensioners of the defined benefit scheme as the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has been. I think he deserves a round of applause. May I also use this opportunity to continue to sensitize our pensioners against patronizing pension fraudsters. No staff of Ptad will call or send any message to you requesting for payment or ask you to call a certain phone number before your arrears or gratuity will be paid. Once you get such messages, you should know that Ptad did not send them and will never do so. Kindly disseminate the important information to your members so that they do not fall victim to these fraudsters. Finally, the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate is grateful to President Muhammadu Buhari, who since the inception of this administration has made pensions an unwritten first-line charge. We are also grateful to our able Supervisory Minister, Dr. Zainab Shamshuna Ahmed, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, and all our other major stakeholders who have made the modest successes achieved by Ptad possible. Once again, I welcome you all and wish all of us a fruitful deliberation. God bless our pensioners and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chioma Ejikeme. Please, let's give her another round of applause. Listening to her welcome address, I'd have expected that at some certain point, the applause would have been really loud, especially when she started reeling out the achievements that Ptad has recorded since the last stakeholders forum that was held in Uyo. Like she said, excellence is a journey and not a destination. And you will agree that Ptad continues to raise the bar with regards to pension administration and services to pensioners under the defined benefit scheme. Dr. Ejikeme, thank you very much for your service, ma'am. We would like to specially recognize Comrade Actor Zhao, General Secretary, NUP National Headquarters. You're welcome, sir. Also, part of his entourage is Comrade Benjamin Etta, Vice President, South-South. Welcome, sir. We'd also like to recognize Comrade Amadine Godwin, Deputy Secretary General. You're very welcome, sirs. Please, I'd like to also announce that Ptad staff who are outside and not part of registry and those in the overflow should please come to the auditorium. Ptad staff not part of the registry outside and who are in the overflow should please come into the auditorium. Thank you very much. So the Executive Secretary has set a very beautiful tone of what to expect at today's event. And looking at your program, we're going to be listening to a presentation on the new narrative. What is this new narrative all about? Please, let's give a round of applause as the Director of Pensioner Support Services Department, Mrs. Nneka Obiamalu, comes to the podium to make her presentation.
Thank you. The Executive Secretary, Ptad, management staff, our invited guests, our dear pensioners, good morning. I can't greet like my ears, so I'll just greet you in English and bid you welcome. I'm going to do a presentation on what we're calling the new narrative for pension administration. And I want to start by making a very clear statement. Can you hear me? I want to start by making a very clear statement. The management of pensions under the defined benefits scheme has changed. Do you agree? It has changed. And I'm going to show you, sort of take you down the path, the journey that Ptad has has followed over the last 9 years and show you how much work has been done and how it has changed. And I really believe that by the time we get to the end, sorry, I have to go up, okay, all right, sorry. Let me climb up. They said the audio is not very good. So I was saying that I'm going to take you through Ptad's journey over the last 9 years to show you just how much work has been done and how pension administration under the defined benefit scheme has changed. And one of the reasons why we feel it's really important that we share this journey is because over the years, there's always been a story around pension management that has been very bad. Until today, even in the newspapers, anytime there's a story on pension, they will show these pictures of pensioners suffering and, you know, all sorts of bad things concerning pension management. And that has changed. We want to be able to show you so that in the future, when, especially the press, in the future, when you start talking about pension management, you will not be telling us that pensioners are still suffering. I will make a distinction, though. We're talking about pensions managed by the federal government of Nigeria. We're not talking about state pensions. We're talking about pensions paid by Ptad and all those pensioners under the old scheme. So, join me. And as we go along, I will pause from time to time to make sure that I am getting it right and that you agree with what I am saying. So let's start from the beginning. My presentation is not showing, sorry. Thank you. So we'll start right from the very beginning, before the establishment of Ptad. So you recall that before Ptad was established,
One, two.
Okay. So prior to Ptad, the old pension scheme had a very bad reputation. There were lots of allegations of pension fraud. Pensioners were neglected. And if you remember, there were stories around the old pension reform task scheme. Do you remember those stories? The pension reform task team, and then even the public hearings and all the stories that were in the newspaper about pension money being stolen, pensioners not being paid. Do you remember those stories? And this was, you know, 2008, 2009, 2010. There were always lots of stories in the newspapers about how badly pensioners were being managed. We heard stories that pensioners used to go to head of service, and that sometimes they would have to sleep in the head of service for days in order for their pension to be paid. Is that true? Do you recall that? Many people were not paid their pension. Many people did not receive their pension, and they were owed arrears. NOKs were not paid for many years. In fact, I recall meeting an NOK early in 2015 when Ptad first started. I met an NOK whose father had passed on in the year 2002. And we were in 2015, and he was still pursuing the death benefits of his father. Almost, more than 10 years after, it was 12 years after the man had died. But there were lots of stories like that. And I'm sure some of you even have, your own cases that you can point to. Am I correct? Also, verification was very difficult. My mother was a pensioner. I remember when she went to TBS sometime in 2010 for verification. It was very, very, very difficult. It was very stressful. People had to stand for long hours in order for them to be verified. You will go 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. It would take you a long time for you to get through the whole verification process. Am I speaking the truth? So that was what pertained at the time of pension reform. And pension reform, okay, before I even talk about it, I picked some stories from the newspapers in those days, just to remind us of where we are coming from. You know, the story from Punch, Interpol declares the ex-boss Mena wanted for 2 billion scam. Pensioners invade head of service over the non-payment of their benefits. And these stories are from 2010, 2011, and 2012. So this, you know, it's just a confirmation of what I was just saying, that, you know, at that time, pension management was very poorly managed. And there were lots of issues that pensioners were facing. So it was against all of this that pension reform took place. Ptad was established in 2013. And we had the mandate to now consolidate all the old pension offices under one roof and take over the management of their pensions. So at the beginning, Ptad faced a lot of challenges, and I'm going to share some of these challenges with you. One of the biggest issues we had when we started in 2014, 2015, was that we had no information about pensioners. Pensioners may not know this. We had no information. All we had was a payroll for all the different pension offices. But we didn't have employment records of pensioners. And on the payroll, there were lots of duplicate names and duplicate account numbers. There were lots of complaints. I remember we went to the head of service to go and retrieve the paper complaints. And there were so many of them. By the time they were all recorded in a database, we had over 50,000 complaints from pensioners complaining about non-payment, short payment, you know, issues like that. Omission. I was on the payroll. I was dropped in 2010. They put me back in 2012. They didn't pay me the difference. Or I was short paid. Am I speaking the truth? And then there were a lot of pensioners too that were not on the payroll. We had a lot of people complaining, a lot of pensioners coming forth and saying, I've not been payrolled. State pensioners with federal share from 2002, when federal government took over the direct payment of their pensions, many of them were not put on the payroll. Am I correct? So these are the kind of problems that we had. And one of the things too was that there wasn't a proper system in place for pensioners to come and make their complaints that this is my problem. And then somebody to listen and answer and respond and then to resolve that problem. That system wasn't a very easy system to navigate at the time. So Ptad really had a lot of issues to face. And because so many people had not been on the payroll, we had arrears that were owed to pensioners. 33% increment that had been approved in 2010 had not yet been implemented. Yes, it had not yet been implemented as at 2014. Pension was being calculated manually. We had a book that we inherited from our colleagues at the head of service that we were using to do pension computation. There was no proper space for pensioners to come in and sit down and have their issues addressed. File management system was very poor. And because pensioners had been denied their entitlements, many of them were very frustrated and very angry. You know, and many times they would come really, really annoyed about the fact that they had not been paid their pensions for such a long time. So we had to deal with frustrated, angry, annoyed pensioners early at the beginning of Ptad's journey. So these are some of the issues that we had. So the first thing we had to do was to bring all these different pensions. Police pension, 18,000 pensioners, customs and immigration, about 12,000, civil service, and the treasury-funded parastatals. We had to bring and consolidate them under one roof in Ptad. We had to go through the payrolls and make sure the payrolls were relatively clean, and then onboard all of them onto the Ptad pension payroll, and then begin to determine what their liabilities are. So these are the first things that we had to deal with when we first started. So this is 2014, 2015, 2016. Inherited liabilities. I am just showing what the inherited liabilities, and this was an estimate at the time. The amount of pension that was due to many pensioners who had not been paid arrears or were being owed their pension. We're looking at almost 213 billion in terms of inherited liabilities at the time when we first started. And a lot of this was the 33% arrears, death benefits, state pensioners with federal share who had not been paid, who had not been paroled, monetization, harmonization issues. All these issues had accumulated a tremendous amount of money that needed to be first reviewed, confirmed, before we could begin to start to offset them. So in the face of all of this, Ptad started working. And over the last 9 years, I think we've made tremendous progress. And I'm going to show you just how much work we have done. I started off by saying this in the beginning. I want to show you just how much work has been done. And I believe that by the time I finish this presentation, you will agree with me that pension management under DBS has changed completely. And that we can do away with the talk of the past. And we can now talk about what is in the future for pension management. So what are the main things that we did? I'm going to talk about 6 different things. 1, the management of pension records, how we now manage pensioners' employment records and their verification files. I want to talk about verification itself, the calculation of pension benefits, payment of all the arrears. I'm going to talk about payment of all the arrears, the way we manage the pension payroll now going forward, and then how we have addressed the issue of pensioners' complaints. So let's start from the first one, the management of pensioners' files. The picture I'm showing you is a picture of the files that we went to go and pick at the head of service for civil service pensioners. Employment records of our civil service pensioners. This was 2015. We needed to go and get access to those records in order to start planning verification and looking at your benefits. I'm sure we have civil service pensioners here. This next picture I'm showing you is that of, oh, sorry, excuse me, I'm going in the wrong direction. Yeah, this is also, this is the civil service, this is the head of service where we went to pick civil service pensioners' files. And I remember that many of these files were in such a bad state that when we picked them up, we had to immediately put them inside plastic bags in order to secure the information, because they had been left there and the papers were beginning to fall apart. So we had to collect them, secure them, in order to now archive them so that we could use them for reference when civil service pensioners had complaints. This is police pensioners' files at the Police Training College in Lagos. where we had to go and pick them. These are pensioners' records, personnel files in the police pensioners. We had to go and pick these files and arrange them so that we can use them as reference for many of our police pensioners. This is how bad the state of some of those files were when we got to police college, and we had to try and make sense and pick as much as possible for our. This is what we've done with all those files. I think we deserve a round of applause. Huh? It's a lot of work, oh. I think, you have to recognize that what we have done is we have arranged those files, we have archived those files, and we've kept them somewhere that you can go and pick a file if you need information about a specific pensioner. It's not easy work, oh. You people should appreciate us, oh. So I'm just showing you pictures, and this is just temporary, because what our executive secretary wants to do now is that she wants us to put them in a proper, like an automated file system, whereby it will be easy to quickly, whereby you take up less space to store them and you can easily retrieve them. So this is even just the temporary arrangement. But what ES has planned is even much better than this. So please appreciate the effort. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, so now in our archives, we have an officer that sits there, that is in charge of the files. And if you want a file, you have to follow a system where you sign it out, use it, and then you return it. So what about pensioner verification? I talked earlier about how I remember when my mother went for pensioner verification, but all of you have done that pensioner verification. So I don't even need to refer to my mother. Do you remember how hard verification used to be? It was very long, very tedious. Sometimes you would stand there for hours. There would be nowhere for you to sit. Am I correct? There was nothing like chairs and canopy, refreshments. Was that being provided at the time? But when you did pensioner verification in Ptad, was it the same? Thank you. Thank you. Please. But I want to tell you something else. All those different verifications that you did, 2010, 2011, 2012, you suffered all of that. And I'm sorry to say this, but no database was created. No database was created. Ptad has been the first agency to create a database of all our pensioners. And that's even the most important thing, because verification was about capturing your information so that we don't have to ask you for it again. If you remember, we took your picture, we scanned all your employment documents into a database. Nobody needs to ask you for that information again. It sits in the database. All we need to do now is make sure that you are alive. That's all. Your information is secure. Your biometrics is there, your personal information is there, and all your employment records are there. So a database has been created by virtue of verification. And the verification process, we simplified it. We made it a lot easier. We tried to create a conducive environment for our elderly pensioners to come in, complete their verification. We tried to provide refreshments. Am I correct? You remember, at least we'll have at least some water and a meal if you are in the verification hall at lunchtime. We also made sure that we recognized that many of our pensioners needed assistance. So we had wheelchairs available for pensioners who were physically challenged. We kept first aid, and we always used to put an ambulance nearby just in case. Do you recall? And that's how we changed the whole verification process and improved on it tremendously. I'm showing a picture here of the verification center at Ekiti, in Ado Ekiti, I think 2016 or 2017. That was the verification center in Ado Ekiti. This is Oshogbo, as verification was going on. This was the center in Oshogbo. This is Jos, either 2015 or 2016. Lokoja in Kogi. CALABAR. This was 2017 in, here in Cross River State. I think it was, no, 2015 when we did civil, customs, immigration, and prisons here in 2015. This is Umwa here in Abia State. And then Abuja. Benin. You remember? So you remember this, you remember the center at the college? Okay, your picture is showing. Yes. And then refreshments in Benin. During lunchtime, when we provided our pensioners with something to eat because they were still at the center. You remember all of this, those of you that were in Benin. This is in Port Harcourt. We had a pensioner that needed assistance, so he was making use of the wheelchairs that Ptad provided. This is an ambulance service in Minna, in Niger State. So these are articles in the newspaper about Ptad's verification exercise, where pensioners were acknowledging the work that we had done. And the newspaper, the media also reported on what we had done. So this is the clear evidence. So, I mean, I'm not just speaking to, you know, to feel good about Ptad. There's clear evidence that this was work that we did and that we changed the way we did verification and try to teach our pensioners with the dignity and respect that they deserve, given that all of them served this country at one point or the other. Sorry, Akwa Ibom. I don't have a picture of Akwa Ibom, but I'm sure you can testify that the same service was provided there. Ptad also introduced a novel innovation, mobile verification. Prior to Ptad's emergence, they didn't have mobile verification, but we had a lot of pensioners who could not come to the verification center. And so we had to figure out a way of how to make sure that they didn't lose out on their pensions. So we set up this mobile verification exercise where we send a mobile team to where the pensioner is, in his house, and sometimes in the hospital. You know, wherever the pensioner is, we will go there to do his verification. In the last number of years, we've done, I don't know how many verifications. In fact, this is mobile verification in a hospital in Gombe, where we had to send a team to a pensioner that was in the hospital for him to be verified. A team that went to a pensioner's house to go and do his verification. Director Corporate Services went to Bonny Island with a team to go and do verification when we were in River State. So this is when they were coming out of the boat when they got to Bonny Island. And these are some of the challenges that many of our Ptad staff had to go through in order to get to a residence of a pensioner, for a pensioner to be to be verified. We've been to every city in Nigeria. I actually listed out all the cities, all the towns that we have gone to do verification. And even though I have only 739, today I can assure you that that number is more than 1,000, because we just finished doing verification in about 15 states, including Akwa Ibom and Cross River, just in the last 2 weeks. We did verification in Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Rivers, Bayelsa, Enugu, Anambra, Ebonyi, Edo, Delta, Ondo, Oyo, Osun, Ogun, and Kwara. So this is an innovation that is introduced by Ptad and has been very successful. I don't know whether you are all aware of this mobile verification? You are? Yes. And a lot of your colleagues who are infirmed, or they are too old, or they are sick, or they have some physical challenge, all they have to do is just write to the executive secretary, show evidence that they are infirm or they are aged and that they can't move, and she will send a team to you for you to be verified. And we've done, like I said, you can see the evidence of all the verifications that we've done through mobile verification. Thank you. So as a result of verification, I wanted to just show you where we are at. When we started, you can see the payroll, police pension, which is number 1, PPD. Police pension had about 18,370 pensioners on the payroll. When we finished verification, we had verified 16,514 of those pensioners through the verification exercise between 2015 and 2019. For Customs, Immigration, and Prisons, it was 12,203, and verified now is 12,338. So that even shows you that there were pensioners who were not on the payroll, who had been out of the system, that have now been captured and are now receiving their pension. Civil service had 129,999. We've verified 112,915. And then parastatals had 108,325, and we have verified 100,128. So this is the result of the verification exercise. Now, one of the challenges I told you that we had when we started was this calculation of pension benefits. So in the past, the calculation of pension benefits was manual. You actually have to pick each file one by one and calculate it one by one. And when you think about it, you can understand why even at the head of service, they had challenges, because to manually compute pension for 100,000 pensioners is a huge task. So we knew that we had to change it. It's manual, it's error prone, so many times you make mistakes when you're doing a manual calculation of pension. So it was clear that that process needed to change. So what we've done now is that we have actually automated the entire process. And when I say automated, once you are verified and all your information is in our system, it automatically calculates your monthly pension. Please appreciate this effort. It automatically calculates your monthly pension. So what does that mean? It means that now there's less chance that your monthly pension will be wrong because of somebody's calculation. So the only way your monthly pension may be wrong is if one of the variables is wrong. So if maybe your date of retirement is wrong, or your date of, or your grade level and step is wrong. But once all the correct information is put into the system, your monthly pension is automatically calculated. And all your pension increments are automatically calculated. So with just literally a touch of a button, we can calculate your pension and we can tell you how much your monthly pension is. It is a major feat, oh. Do you not agree? So we've done that. We've also automated the payroll system, which means that once your monthly pension is calculated, that information is transmitted into the payroll. You don't require manual intervention now between your verification, your monthly pension, and your amount on the payroll. The payment system is something also that pensioners don't know has changed. Now, when Ptad prepares the payroll, and the payroll is if you look at what I'm showing you on the slide, by the 15th of every month, the payroll for that month is ready and is on the ES's table. And once it enters, is ready and is on the ES's payroll, you can't touch that payroll again for that month. Once she approves it, it's uploaded onto the Government Integrated Financial Management Information System, what they call GIFMIS, which is managed by the Office of the Accountant General. Okay? And then once you wait for the cash backing, once the cash backing cash is released at the end of the month, is automatically paid directly into your individual accounts. So Ptad doesn't keep anybody's money. We don't have any bank account. Do you understand what I'm saying? The money sits at CBN. All Ptad does is prepares the payroll, uploads it on the platform, and once the money is there, it's paid directly to you. So all those stories of pension money is missing is a thing of the past. It is a thing of the past. So press, hear it all, so that we don't see it inside the newspaper tomorrow, because the press will be the first one to come and say that pension fund is missing. It's not possible. Pension fund sits at the Central Bank of Nigeria. It doesn't sit with the Ptad as the administrator. So that's how your payment is made. And many of you, I want you to recognize this thing about the payroll. By the 15th of the month, the payroll is ready. So sometimes you may see that there's a delay in your payment. It's not because of Ptad, because Ptad has already finished the payroll, signed it off, and put it up. So usually if there's a delay, it may be because there's been a delay in the release of funds. Or there's been maybe a technical hitch at the time of the payment. So maybe just at the time of the payment, maybe internet connectivity went down, the payment didn't go. Do you understand what I'm saying? That somebody took your money is not possible. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is not possible. Okay. So I wanted to also show a little bit about the people who have been paid pension arrears. But first I wanted to remind you, the inherited payroll, those that were verified. Then after verification, those that did not come for verification, that were removed from the payroll immediately after verification, that's the 49,409 that you can see there. But many of them have come back and have been verified, especially diaspora pensioners. Then of course, new enrollees, people who had been taken off the payroll prior to Ptad and had to come back and be reinstated. So we have reinstated about 40,918 as of October 2022. And our payroll now is 226,328. That's the payroll as of October. So the payroll is fluid, it changes. It may not be that figure today because we're dealing with senior citizens, so some pensioners will pass away and they will be dropped from the payroll. And then diaspora pensioners may come and they will be added to the payroll, or somebody who had not been on the payroll but now is coming up because they are seeing that people are being paid will be added to the payroll. So the payroll number fluctuates from month to month. Since 2014, Ptad has paid 42 billion to 161,122 pensioners. Pension arrears. This is pension arrears. So following verification, when we want to verify you, we calculate your pension. If you are short paid, we pay you the difference. So this gives you an idea of just how much work has been done in terms of settling those pension arrears and those liabilities that I talked about right at the beginning. We've paid 161,122, 42 billion in pension arrears since 2014. Since 2014 too, we've paid about a little over 7 billion to the next of kin of deceased pensioners. Now, you know, I want to just add something. I think ES mentioned it. We're not saying that the work is done. We know that there are still many pensioners that have pension arrears due to them. We also have deceased, next of kin of deceased pensioners who still have death benefits due to them. But as at now, so far, so good. And that's what I wanted you to see, just how much actually has been done, even though we still have some work to do. So I want to talk about the complaints resolution, you know, because in the old days, under the pension, under the old system, there wasn't the head of service didn't have a very comprehensive complaints management system. The complaints desk at the head of service didn't have the required capacity and didn't have all the resources needed. And so pensioners were getting very poor customer service. So we had to find a way to deal with that, especially because we had inherited so many complaints. So this again is an innovation in the sense that Ptad had to now come up with a complaints management system, a complaints resolution system. So first and foremost, we have a complaints tracking system, whereby if you make a complaint to Ptad, it has an ID number and it can be tracked. We can follow up to see where it is and what action has been taken. There are also many different ways now in which you can make your complaint. So you can come to our headquarters in Abuja, or you can go to any of our state offices. I will show you where all the state offices are, and walk into the contact center and make a complaint. You can write to the ES. Many of you do that. You write letters to the executive secretary telling her what your complaint is, and she forwards it to the relevant departments for action. You can call. We have a call center. We don't have as many lines as we should have, so many times pensioners do complain that their call is not picked up. But hopefully we'll be able to expand the capacity and we'll have less unanswered calls in the future. You can also send an email. We have people that man and receive the emails of your complaints and then try to resolve it. If you are technology savvy, you can go to our website. On our website, you can actually fill out a complaint. And more now, we have pensioners and their next of kin using social media. So either our Facebook page or our Twitter handle, you post your complaint and we try to resolve that. So there are many different ways in which you can make a complaint to Ptad if you're having issues with your pension. This is a picture of our call center in Abuja, where you can come in at any time, sit down. There's always somebody there who can talk with you and help you to resolve your complaint. The next picture I want to show is our call center. We have 4 agents in the call center. Like I said, we know it's not sufficient, but hopefully we'll be able to expand that over time. But they answer all the phone calls that come in from pensioners. Those lines are always busy because pensioners are calling all the time. We have 11 offices, Benin, Lagos, Enugu, and Kaduna were created in 2015. In 2016, we opened Kanu and Sokoto. In 2018, we opened an office in Yobe. That was at the height of, well, it wasn't at the height, but that was the time when many of our pensioners in the Northeast couldn't get access to us. So we opened an office in Yobe to assist that process. In 2019, we opened an office in Adamawa and Anambra. And then this year, we've opened an office in Oyo and Borno, and we have allocation for an office in Akwa Ibom, so hopefully that one will also come upstream very soon. So those are the 11 offices that you have access to, that you can go in and make a complaint. You don't have to come to Abuja in order to file your complaint. There will be somebody in any of those offices too. Okay, I will take questions once I'm done. You can write your questions at the back of the, there's a piece of paper has been provided to you, so you can write it down so that, yeah, we'll pick it up afterwards. So I've showed you, so this is our complaint system where we put all the complaints that come from pensioners so that we can track the action taken on the complaints. And at any point in time, you can go and have a look at the complaints, know how many complaints are that have been registered, how many are in process, how many have been worked on. This is just for our own internal processes to make sure that we keep track of our complaints. Over the years, the number of complaints have declined. And I wanted to show this for you to see that we are resolving complaints. I know sometimes pensioners get a bit frustrated, but we are resolving complaints, and the complaints have declined significantly over the last 4 or 5 years. So I wanted you all to see that. So, would you agree with me that pension reform has been a success? Would you agree with me that Ptad has done well over the last 9 years? Thank you. We are very mindful of the fact that our success is not by virtue of our own efforts. We've been very lucky. We've had the support of the president. And I think, as he has asked, I think he deserves another round of applause, because he has been very, very supportive towards pensioners and the requirements for pension over the last couple of years. Our stakeholders, our key sort of partners in being able to do this work is first the Honorable Minister and the Minister of Finance, the Finance Ministry. PENCOM as our regulators, the Office of the Accountant General, which actually helps, who hold the platform for the payment and are very receptive to many of our issues. We're very grateful to them. The House Committee and the Senate Committee in the National Assembly too. The Office of the Head of Service, National Salary, Income and Wages Commission, Budget Office of the Federation. All these different government agencies are very much part of the success of Ptad, and we don't in any way take it for granted. So I would like you to appreciate them. We've also been very lucky. We've had very strong and strategic leadership in Ptad right from the beginning up until now. And I really would like us to just take a moment and pause and appreciate our Executive Secretary. She's probably one of the hardest working public servants at the moment. And part of this, acknowledgement of the Executive Secretary is also because we've been able to really utilize our resources, the human capital, the budgetary advances. We've been able to use it, judiciously in a way that makes sense, that has allowed us to achieve a lot of the things that we have done. So we're very grateful to our Executive Secretary for that. Ptad would not be successful without its staff. We have, some of the most passionate, committed, creative, empathetic staff of the country. And I really want you to acknowledge the staff of Ptad who respect the dignity of the senior citizens under our care and try to really do their best every day to make sure that your complaints are resolved and your pensions are paid and paid timely. The pension unions, pension desk officers, their collaborative support has also made a lot of this work possible. So, on behalf of the ES and all the management and the staff of Ptad, I want to extend our sincere appreciation to not just the pension union, not just the pension union and the pension desk officers, but also to the pensioners themselves for their support in making sure that we achieved what we have achieved. So, thank you very much. Honestly, thank you. Finally, now that we have agreed that the narrative have changed, what can we look forward to in the future? And this is really what we want to talk about going forward. We don't want to talk about the old pension system anymore. We don't want to talk about fraud. We don't want to talk about all those things anymore because the narrative has changed. Do you agree? The narrative has changed. So going forward, what are we going to be talking about? I am alive. That's number one. You've all heard about the I am alive confirmation solution. Have you heard about the I am alive confirmation solution? Okay. So all of you have been verified. Your data is all on our database. We don't need to verify you again. We just need to confirm that you are alive. And so this solution is going to help us to do that. We know that the learning curve may be steep, but we know that eventually it's going to make life easier for our pensioners and it's going to make life easier for us as well. So that's the number one thing. It's easy to use, it's convenient, and it's going to save us all a whole lot of stress and money. Ptad is also working with the Ministry of Health and a number of other government agencies on health insurance for older persons. We are part of that committee. That's what we also want to talk about in the future. To provide health insurance to our pensioners at the time that it matters the most. And this is something that is being spearheaded by our president and the Ministry of Health. And we're very much a part of it, and we believe that very soon that will come to fruition. As we go forward, we will only be looking at other welfare-enhancing initiatives because we hope that in the next couple of years, the whole issues of complaints will be resolved. Pensioners on the payroll, they have received all their arrears, they're just getting their monthly pension. So we should be talking about how we can improve your welfare. There shouldn't be any other discussion about complaints and monthly pension payments. So that's what we look at in the future, and those are the kind of conversations we want to have in the future with all of you. Thank you so much for your attention.
She does deserve another round of applause. A stronger one, please. So I'd like to welcome you back from that documentary, verbal documentary, if you'd like to call it that. Because you see, sometimes it's not easy to put your thoughts in a coherent manner up until the point where you'll be able to pass a very strong message across. And I think Mrs. Obiamalu's presentation did just that. She took us from where we were coming from to where we are now and where we want to go to. And as stakeholders here in the audience, we're all going to go to that place together, won't we? We'll all go together, won't we? Awesome. Thank you very much, Mrs. Obiamalu, for such a very comprehensive presentation. Now, even though this is not a verification, we are very committed to pensioners' welfare. And just like Mrs. Obiamalu mentioned in her presentation, we usually have an ambulance and medical teams on standby. So we do have an ambulance outside and a medical team. So if you have the need for it, please don't hesitate to use it. Let's move over to the next item on our list. And that is, we'll be listening to Goodwill messages from some of our key stakeholders. To give a Goodwill message, please let's make welcome the representative from PENCOM and head South-South Zonal Office, Mr. Michael Ejiofor Ene.
Thank you very much. Goodwill message from National Pension Commission. The Executive Secretary, Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, the top management staff of Ptad, our highly honored senior citizens here present. The National Pension Commission commends the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, Ptad, on its 2022 Stakeholders Engagement Forum for the South-South, taking place here in CALABAR, Cross River State, with the theme to update and continuously enhance the credibility of the existing database through regular I am alive confirmation. The Commission with pleasure observed that Ptad, since its establishment as provided in Section 42, subsection 1 of the Pension Reform Act, PRA 2014, has effectively and impressively lived up to the purpose of its establishment. The function, in line with Section 45 of the PRA 2014, include to make budgetary estimates for existing pensioners and officers exempted from the contributory pension scheme, prepare and submit monthly payroll of pensioners to the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation for payment from budgetary allocation, issue payment instructions to the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, maintain a comprehensive database of pensioners under their respective jurisdiction, ascertain deficits in pension payments, if any, to existing pensioners or category of pensioners exempted under Section 5, subsection 1B of the PRA 2014, and carry out such other functions aimed at ensuring the welfare of pensioners. Render monthly returns to the Commission on existing staff, pensioners, deceased staff, and next of kin of deceased pensioners. Ptad, no doubt, has efficiently delivered on these functions. Ptad had extensively carried out verification exercise of pensioners under the 4 operational departments, which include the Civil Service Pension Department, the Police Pension Department, the Custom, Immigration and Prisoner Pension Department, the Treasury-funded Parastatal Pension Department. The exercise was commendable, as it led to the integrity of the database by expunging duplicate names, unqualified pensioners, and next of kin, thereby saving large sums of money for the federal government by stopping wastages in these areas. The above service delivery of the Directorate on coordinated timely payment of pensioners, resolution of emanating complaints, and welfare of pensioners have indeed changed the narrative of the defined pension administration in Nigeria. As the fate of pensioners are no longer left in the predatory interest of those who handle pension departments in respective MDAs before the establishment of Ptad. Finally, the I'm Alive project, which has finally come on board as requested in examination reports of the Commission, has not only further changed the narrative of defined benefit administration, but has enhanced the tool. The Directorate may still be facing challenges like recovery of legacy assets and movement to its permanent site due to paucity of funds, but with marked resilient spirit, the Directorate will get there someday. On behalf of the National Pension Commission and the Director General, Aisha Dahiru Umar, on whose directive I'm here, I wish the Directorate a successful hosting of its 2022 Stakeholders Engagement Forum. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ene. Please, let's give him another round of applause for that wonderful message. And we're truly inspired. Thank you very much, sir, and to your team as well. I'd like to invite the representative next of the NUP National President. He's also the Vice President, South-South, Comrade Benjamin Etta, to give his own goodwill message.
Rest is sweet. Usually when we go into our state foria, we say rest is sweet after payment. But with Ptad around, we say rest is sweet after payment. I am representing the national president of the NUP, and I want to stand on the existing protocol. First, let us look at the Ptad narrative. And we say Ptad narrative is completely true. Pensioners of the defined benefit scheme have never had it so good. And we wonder whether the people working in Ptad or Ptad itself, people are not from the moon. Wonder whether they are Nigerians. They are just wonderful. The NUP wishes to place on record the interest of the head of state, the president of this Nigeria, on the welfare of Nigerian pensioners. We want to join Ptad to thank them for us. At the last NEC meeting in Abuja, we agreed to honor the president. I mean, the NUP wants to honor the president. We are asking Ptad to please facilitate that move so that together with them, we can see the president and honor him. Once again, I thank the union thanks Ptad for what they have done. But like Oliver Twist, we still want something more. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Elder. Please, let's give him another round of applause. Thank you so much, Comrade Benjamin Etta. And, well, the Chief Brand Ambassador of Ptad, Dr. Ejikeme, is listening to you. And from all the accolades, I think Ptad deserves a proper round of applause. Let's take our bow. Thank you very much. Thank you. So in the course of the program today and even tomorrow, I'll be referencing a lot to the presentation made by Mrs. Nneka Obiamalu, talking about the new narrative. She spoke about a lot of things. And so we're going to be highlighting some of the key components of that presentation one by one. So the first aspect we're going to be taking now is on the pension computation. We're going to give you a robust understanding of the components, parameters if you'd like, that are used in the computation of your pension entitlements. You'd like to pay attention to this next presentation that will be made by the Director of Parastatal's Pensions Department, Mr. Kabir Yusuf. Okay, so that presentation will be coming up in a moment. I'd like to, at this time, remind you that you can ask questions. We'll be taking questions during a session that is slated for tomorrow. But if you look at your program, there's actually provision for that, so you can write your questions so you don't forget it. We'll collate it and respond to the questions at a session that will be conducted tomorrow. Also, there's a very easy way for you to interact with us. At the back of your program, you will see the different ways you can interact with us at Ptad. You can send us emails, either through complaints at ptad.gov.ng or via info@ptad.gov.ng. You can also interact with us on the social media platforms. We've got Twitter and Facebook platforms that you can interact with us. And you can also interact with us at any of our contact centers, our state offices. The addresses are also at the back of the page. So if Mr. Kabiru is ready, I'd like to invite him now to make his presentation focusing on the pension computation. Please, let's welcome him with a round of applause. Thank you.
A very good morning to our senior citizens, my papas and mamas that are here. Once again, good morning and you are welcome. I will not attempt to use any of the local greetings that he has adopted because I don't want to lose my teeth or my tongue. First of all, I would like to sort of explain the reason or the purpose behind choosing to talk about this subject, computation. My colleagues and the ES had all talked about, all from the morning till now, all of the things that we have tried to do to change the narrative. But just like our papa, the VP from the South had said, rest is sweet after payment. Whatever narrative we are talking about, if it doesn't turn to alert, it's grammar. Now, the second thing as a consequence of that narrative or that alert is that if it doesn't turn out to what you expect, then we get another grammar. And a lot of the time, from the experience that we have had in sort of talking through some of the complaints that you have, this complaint comes out of a clear misunderstanding, difference in perspectives about what you are getting compared to what you thought you ought to get. And until we can turn around and see things from our perspective, that complaint will continue. When two people stand on two sides of figure 6, the person on one side will swear to God it is 9, and the person here will keep saying it is 6, until each one of us can do a turnaround and say, so this is it. The beauty is that with respect to pension, everything about pension is strictly and completely guided by law. Absolutely. It does not allow for any human interpretation or human intervention. It is completely and strictly guided by law. If whatever it is that we compute and pay you cannot be supported by a pension law, a circular, it is fabu. And if the argument you are pushing to us cannot be supported by a pension law or a circular, it can't work. From day one of the commitments of Ptad is that no pensioner who has a right to 1 naira will be denied. But the second side of it also is that until a pensioner, we are convinced that a pensioner has a judicious right to that 1 naira, we also cannot pay. Ptad is one of the only very few government agencies that you have a sitting-in team of federal auditors. Probably it's only NNPC that has that. The federal auditors carry out pre-audits, that is before we make payment, and after we make payment. And if any of the submissions that we make does not comply with necessary laws they will not clear it. And that is the very, very, very sensitive position that government has put pension. I will now go into my slide. Okay. We are titled DBS Pension Benefit Computation for PAPD pensioners. We are using PAPD pensioners as an example because that is the department that I manage. I think somebody will have to help me. Okay. I'll start with what I call the genesis. And then what qualifies a parastatal pensioner for DBS? What are the rightful entitlements of a pensioner under the DBS? What parameters are applicable to compute pension and gratuity entitlement, including pensionable emoluments? What are the applicable salary structure and pension increments? And then give a very short update on the project for the computation of monthly pension for verified pensioners that are under PAPD. And then conclude. It's not responding. Okay. You know, when we took over, one of the things we need to remember is that even prior to the time that Ptad took over, all pensioners, irrespective of where you retire or which agency you work for, all of them used to be managed by the Office of the Head of Service. Everyone. Then sometimes in 1997, there was a circular from the federal government dated 30th of January 1997. That circular was what gave authority for treasury-funded parastatals to be managing their own pensions by themselves. For those who are in parastatals, they will recall. This circular now gave powers to respective agencies, universities, colleges of education, polytechnics, federal medical centers, teaching hospitals, steel rolling mills, to set up their own board of trustees to work with insurance underwriters of government and then to determine their members who are qualified for pension and then movement onto the pension payroll. Move them onto the pension payroll. Now, what it means is that for anybody, excuse me, what it means is that for any pensioner that is working with a federal government parastatal who retire before 1st of January 1997, their file and their pension will continue to be managed by the Office of the Head of Service. For any pensioner who now retires after 1st January 1997, those are the ones that were managed by the respective parastatals board of trustees. And as at August 2015, when Ptad took over, those are the ones that went into PAPD. So we do have instances where, based on the date of retirement, some of these pensioners who retire, you remember post and telegraphs that became NIPOSTs, then telecommunications that became NITEL. Some of them who retire under post and telegraphs are still being managed under CSPD till date because they retire before this cutoff date. that gave independent authority to parastatals. Now, what will qualify a parastatal pensioner for DBS pension? There are three key things. Number one, the federal government agency where your career service took place. That's number one. Number two, the period, the specific years in which your career service took place. Then number three, the length and number of years of your service. I will explain the first one. For you to be a parastatal pensioner, you must have worked with a parastatal that is fully treasury funded, 100%. And that is why a lot of the time, commercial entities of government, like NEPA, like NITEL, like the steel rolling mills, were not originally under the DBS. Why? Because they were set up as commercial entities of government. They determine their own pay, and they have a closed pension scheme. So for someone to come under parastatal pension, he must have worked with an agency that is 100% treasury funded. NIPOST, the research institutes, University Teaching Hospital, the universities, federal medical centers, colleges of education, polytechnics, those are all 100% treasury funded. And their pension were 100% fully funded by the federal government. So that is number one. Then number two, the period, specific years in which your career service took place. Like I said, if a pensioner retires before 1st of January 1997, when the circular giving authority to parastatals to manage their own pension, that pensioner would naturally fall under the management of Order of Service and then CSPD. It is those that comes after 1st January 1997. Then the three, of course, the length and number of years. If you work for less than 10 years, you will not be qualified for pension. I have tried to explain. Number one, regular treasury-funded federal agency pensioners worked entirely with any federal government treasury-funded parastatals and retired between 1st January 1997 and 30th June 2007. This includes university, teaching hospitals, medical centers, polytechnics, colleges of education, railway, river basin authorities, research institutes. Then number two, we have state with federal share pensioners. That is, you worked with at least 2 agencies of government, with one of them being a federal government treasury-funded parastatals. We have some of our pensioners who started with just University Teaching Hospital, and then from there moved to Ministry of Health, Plateau State. Now, you have started with a federal government agency and then moved to a state agency. Those are categories of pensioners that we call states with federal share. That is, they had one element of their career with the federal government and then another element with the state government. So we have them also under PAPD. Then the third category is severed pensioners. You will recall that sometimes during the regime of the President Olusegun Obasanjo, a public service reform initiative was carried out and some employees were severed and disengaged up until 2006 and in some instances 2007. So we have this category too also in PAPD. Then we have deferred stroke due pensioners. These are pensioners who worked again with any federal government treasury parastatal, but at the time that they retired, before January 30th of June 2007, they were not yet 45 years old. So you do have instances where when they now clock 45, they will come forward for them to be enrolled for monthly pension. Then we have Section 6 next of kins, and sometimes Section 5 next of kins, who are next of kin of deceased principal pensioners, and who by virtue of the nature of their death have claims of benefits against Ptad. When I talk about period-specific years, I had explained slightly. Because of the administrative management structure for pension, prior to the circular of 1st of January 1997, all pensioners of federal government were being managed at the Office of the Head of Service. But after the circular of 1st January 1997, parastatal pensioners, parastatal agencies were given the power to manage their own pension. And they created Board of Trustees for this purpose. No, so in August 2015, when Ptad took over, all of the pensioners that were being managed by the Office of the Head of Service naturally moved to the Civil Service Pension Department. And it is only those pensioners that were being managed by those respective Board of Trustees and their parastatals that moved to Parastatal Pension Department. Qualification based on the number of years. You recall that at different stages of DBS pension management, the number of years required to qualify for pension at some point was 15 years, and then gratuity was 10 years, and then later on it changed to 10 years for pension and 5 years for gratuity. That circular was the circular, federal government circular, dated 29th of June 1992. And from October 1960 to March 1977, it was 5 years that you need to spend to qualify for gratuity, and then 10 years for pension. Then from April 1977 to May 1992, it changed to 10 years to qualify for gratuity and 15 years to qualify for pension. Then from June 1992 to June 2007, it was changed to 5 years to qualify for gratuity and then 10 years to qualify for pension. Why am I going into the details of this explanation? Remember I said that a lot of the time, the complaints we receive from our pensioner is by virtue of their understanding of what they thought they should get compared to what we calculate and determine they are entitled to. And through those discussions, some of this misunderstanding comes from inappropriate application of what the laws or the relevant circulars are. And that is why we're showing it clearly up front. If anybody retires before May 1992 and spends only 10 years, there's no way Ptad can compute pension for the person. There's no way. Because the law is very clear. You need 15 years to qualify for pension. Ptad cannot rewrite the law. We don't have that power. So if we don't have that clarity of understanding, we'll continue to have arguments that will not lead anywhere. And that is where that understanding is clear. Then, what are the rightful entitlements of a pensioner under the DBS? When someone successfully completes his career with the federal government on or before 30th of June 2007, which makes him fall under DBS, what are his rightful entitlements? Two major rightful entitlements: gratuity and pension. That's all. Gratuity and pension. That is what the law states. Ptad cannot change it. And gratuity is a gratuitous one-off lump sum payment paid to a federal employee at the successful completion of their career under the DBS. And pension is regular monthly stipend paid to successfully retired federal employees and calculated based on clearly defined parameters. Please, it is important for us to understand, severance benefit or compensation benefit for loss of employment is not He writes under the DBS. It falls under a different thing. Severance benefit is as a consequence of the public service reform initiative carried out by federal government. And Ptad does not pay that. It is BPSR that pays that. So you can't claim severance benefits under DBS. The law does not allow it. 2, relocation allowance. Ptad does not pay that. 3, promotion arrears. Any entitlement that relates to your employment is your employer. Ptad does not have the mandate. Then we come to the meat of the matter. How do we compute pension? In my village, they used to say that when the soup no sweet, now because the ingredient no complete. When the ingredient complete, from the front door, you will be knowing whether this soup goes sweet or not. For us to compute the pension benefit of any eligible pensioner, the ingredient must complete. If it is supposed to be 3, it must be 3/3. 2/3 will not work. 1/3 will not work. And that is why, for some of you who have participated in our verification, that is why we are very diligent in ensuring that your documents are complete. Some of you will have asked that you go back and get letter of introduction from the agency where you worked. It is because when we get to this place of cooking the soup, if the ingredient is not complete, we will not be able to go forward. There are 3 major parameters that we use in computing your pension. 3. Number 1, your career details. All of you have, by virtue of the grace of God, your commitment to your employer, your loyalty, you have successfully carried out your career with the federal government. And you all deserve to be treated with dignity and to acknowledge the services that you have given to our fatherland. However, for us to do that, we must have record. We were not there when you were carrying out your styling services to federal government. The only thing that can give us the evidence of that is your career details. Your letter of first appointment, your letter of last promotion showing grade level and step, your letter of retirement. If you move across different organizations, whether letter of transfer, because if none of those are complete, we will, without any intent from our part, shortchange you. If those documents are not complete, the federal auditors will not endorse our computation. Number 1. Number 2, we need the salary structure that is in use at your agency at the time of your retirement. You know, I said in the beginning, everything about pension is completely and strictly guided by law and circulars. We can't cook it. So we need to have the salary structure that is in use at your agency when you retire. And this is where we acknowledge the support that we have received from National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission. 3, all the pension increment that has been in place from, I think, 1994 to date. We need validated and certified records of those pension increments. When we have these 3, and the firewood and the pot is available, the soup can go on. But before we move forward, we also need to have a clear understanding of this thing called pension emolument. Pension emolument. Because for a lot of the complaints that we've had, that is usually where our rough fight usually begin. The law is very clear. When you are an active worker, there are several elements that is cooked up together in your salary. There is basic, there is transport, there is housing, there is utility, there is meal/entertainment, there is domestic servant, there is hazard allowance for those who are qualified for it, and some other form of allowance depending on the nature of work that you do. But the law is very clear. When you retire, it is not all of that total salary that is used in computing your pension. The law is very clear on those ones that are acceptable and those ones that are not allowable. It does not matter where you worked. By the law, what is listed here are the pensionable emoluments that can be used to calculate your pension. Your basic salary, your transports, your housing, your meal, utility, then domestic servant, 1 for GL15 and 2 for GL17. My papa and mama, there is nothing in the pension law that empowers Ptad to hazard allowance as part of what is used to calculate your pension. There is nothing in the pension law that gives Ptad the power to put responsibility allowance as part of what is used to calculate your pension. Or leave allowance. I am making a note of this, especially for some of our senior citizens who work with steel rolling companies. It is important that we state this. I repeat, Ptad will not take 1 kobo that you have a right to. And sir, Ptad will not pay 1 kobo that you cannot justify. If Ptad gets a directive today that the totality of a pensioner's salary should be used to calculate his pension, we are cashier, as he used to say. We only receive instructions. But if that rule has not changed, we will not change it. So it's important that we all understand that. All these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are the emoluments that can be taken out of your salary to compute your pension. We have had instances where some agencies have gone ahead by powers that they believe is given to their board to increase their salaries and allowances, and attempt to get Ptad to adopt these salaries and allowances. I would like to state clearly that the law guiding pensions states very clearly it is only salaries and allowances that are approved by the National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission that Ptad can use to compute your pension. I repeat, it is only salaries and allowances that are approved by National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission that can be used to compute your pension. So what it means is that if your board approves your salary, you must go to NSIWC and get a concurrent endorsement of it. Again, we have had instances where some of our senior citizens, when they complain, they bring ministerial negotiation agreements, MOUs, or report of joint consultative negotiation, or National Assembly committee reports, and use it to justify their claim for some elements of salaries and allowances. We don't have the powers. If any of this exists, by the way government carried out its business, before any of this can become acceptable, they must go to National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission and get endorsed. Without that, Ptad cannot act on it. And to corroborate this position, there was a circular that was issued by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation on 3rd August 2000, which was addressed to all agencies of government. And it was titled Review of the Salaries, Allowances of Federal Government Parastatals, Agencies, etc. Paragraph 3 of that circular states, and I quote, "Any proposal for upward review of salaries, allowances, and fringe benefits in the public service must therefore be cleared with the National Salaries, Incomes, and Wages Commission. It is only when the views of government are communicated in writing to a public sector agency by the commission that the proposed changes can be implemented. Without that, there's nothing Ptad can do." This is black and white. Then, salary structures and pension increments. I told you that we need 3 things. Number 1, the career details. Number 2, the salary structures. And then number 3, the pension increments. Now, for parastatals, all the salary structures that we have, I can assure you that we have confirmed them with the National Salaries, Income, and Wages Commission. And across all the 7 sectors that we have, I can list all the salary structures that we use in determining the pension entitlements of our pensioners. For university, we have Part 94, EUSS 92. For those of us who know it, you can follow me. Artist 98, Artist 99, Artist 2000, Artist 2003, Artist 2005, and Contest 2007. For education sector, that is polytechnics and colleges of education, we have almost the same thing, Part 94, EUSS 92, Artist 98, Artist 99, 2000, 2003, 2005, and Contest 2007. For the health sector, we have Part 94, EUSS 92, Artist 98, 99, 2000, 2003, 2005, Contest 2007, and then NDLEA salary structure. For power and transport, that's where we have railway and all the river basin authorities. We have Part 94, UGSS 92, APS 98, APS 99, 2000, 2003, 2005, Compass 2007, and the steel salary structure. For PSCN, we have a special PSCN salary structure for PSCN pensioners. Then for OPS, that is other public sector and research institutes, we have Part 94, UGSS 92, APS 98, APS 99, 2000, 2003, 2005, Compass 2007, then FRSC salary structure, NAIC salary structure, PBN, that is People's Bank salary structure, and then Petroleum Training Institute salary structure. Then for defunct agencies, we have Part 94, FHA salary structure, NITEL salary structure, NICON salary structure, and Nigeria Rail salary structure. My fathers and mothers, if the salary structure that is listed here, if your own is not there, there's no way we can use it. There's no way. So, and that is where some of the issues of what you expect as your entitlement and what you get, that's where some of the issues comes up. Any salary structure that is not here cannot be used for any pensioner under PAPD. Because these are all the salary structure that has been certified and cleared by National Salaries, Incomes, and Wages Commission for all the 7 sectors that we have here. There's nothing to hide. Then we come to pension increments. Again, I'm going back. We said we need 3 major parameters. 1, your career details. 2, salary structure. The third one is the pension increments from inception to date. What are pension increments? Pension increments are actually adjustments that is made to monthly pension of pensioners under the DBS, either as absolute figure or percentage increment, often to mitigate the effects of inflation or other factors. One major justification for pension increment is actually the provision of Section 173(3) of the 1999 Constitution, which states that pension of federal pensioners should be reviewed whenever the salaries of active workers are being reviewed, or every 5 years, whichever one comes earlier. And you have found out that this has been one of what you call the major statutory platform that ensures that pensions of our senior citizens get adjusted. I think the last one was done in 2019, thanks to Ptad, and the support from the National Salaries Income and Wages Commission and the Presidency. The next slide will show all of the pension increments that has been existent till date. And I will try to go through them. The first one is what is called, when I say Part 94, it's actually Pension Annual Harmonized Table. That is called Part 94. And the reason for Part 94 was that prior to this time, what was used to compute pension was only basic, nothing else. So it was Part 94 that now created some absolute figure amount to be added to the basic when it is computed for pension, so that it can adjust slightly the pension of people who retire under salary structures that only had basic alone, before you now start applying all the other increments that comes after. That circular came out on the 30th of September 1994, and it applies to pensioners who retire on or before 30th of September 1994. You can see that it has effective period. So I can't apply Part 94 to somebody who retire in 2000. It's not possible. The next increment was 150%, which was effective on 1st of January 1999. The next one after that was 30%, which was effective from 1st of January 2000. The next after that is 142%, which was effective from 1st of May 2000. You can see that for every of the salary structure I've mentioned so far, they all have effective dates. So what it means is that if you retire before these dates, you qualify for it. If you retire after these dates, you cannot go back. You cannot be a pensioner and a worker at the same time. Pension increment is for pensioners. If you retire 2000, it means you are working as at 1999. So you can't get a pension increment that was effective in 99. Then after that, we have 19%. That 90% is applicable only to university education and research institutes only. And it was effective for 1st of May 2001. After that, we have 6%, effective on 1st of October 2003. After that, 15%, effective from 1st of January 2007. After it, 33%, the popular one, that was effective on 1st of July 2010. Then after that, we had 9.7% that was effective 1st of June 2016 and applicable only to PSCN pensioners. Then for university, then we have the consequential pension adjustment that was effective from April 2019 and add absolute figure increments as the basis of adjustment. Then we have some special benefits for university professors. By virtue of the Universities Miscellaneous Provisions Act of 1993, university professors, based on some conditions, can earn 100% of their last salary as TPE. And it also changed their retirement age to 65. Then that act was amended on the 11th of May 2012. And it maintained 100% salary as their TPE and then increased their retirement age to 70 years. My fathers and mothers, what you have on this board here is all the pension increments that is known to DBS in Nigeria. There's no other one. And all of them, as you can see, have effective dates. The reason, again, that we are emphasizing is that we have some instances of belief from some of our senior citizens, again, for some that work with Delta Steel Company and some other steel companies, believing that irrespective of the date that they were disengaged, they are entitled to 150% and 30% that was effective in January 1999 and January 2000. Ptad cannot change the law. And pension increment is a function of the dates that they retire. Now, when we now compute your pension, in order for us to be on the same page, the first thing is that can clear whatever complaints that we have is your verification slip. So I'm going to appeal to our senior citizens. I know that some of you, when you did verification, as soon as you got that verification slip, you were so excited that you did not even go into the details to check. Please, after this event, I beg you, take your time to go and check. Anything that is humanly designed and prepared cannot be absolutely perfect. There is possibility under the environment and the pressure of verification, there must be some transposition error. So go and check. Is your date of first appointment correct? Is your date of last promotion correct? Is your grade level and step that is there, is it correct? Is your date of retirement correct? Did the verification slip carry the totality of your career record? There are some people who worked with 2-3 agencies, and when they came to us, they brought only the document of one agency. That's the only thing we'll capture. We can't capture what we don't know. So if there are other elements of your career that we have not captured, get to any of our state offices, submit the original document, and we will incorporate it, so long as we can ascertain that it is correct. That is the first thing towards ensuring that what we compute for you and what you expect us to compute for you are one and the same thing. You know, I said there are 3 ingredients to cook that soup. 1, your career details. Then the second thing is the salary structure. And the third thing is the pension increments. All this information are freely available. Now, if you discover that what we ought to put as part of your pension increment, we did not put it, all you do is just state it. If it is valid, we'll make the correction. We are human. But again, what we will not do is to pay what you are not entitled to. One of the things in the process of resolving your complaints that we are obliged to give you is your computation sheet. If you have any concern about what we are paying you as pension, if you can make a request for your computation sheet. Your computation sheet will carry your personal profile, your name, those career details, the agency that you worked, your bank, number one. Two, it will now determine what your TPE is, that is your total pensionable emolument, like I explained. The next thing, it will determine what your annual pension is, and then it will list all the pension increments you are entitled to. And then put your monthly pension as at the last pension increment. That monthly pension, except for those who have COD deduction, must be the same as what is landing in your account. There is no, if those figures are correct, my fathers and mothers, you cannot get 1 naira extra. We all know the effects of inflation. That is not the job of Ptad. Ours is to pay your pension based on your career details and the applicable salary structures and increments. And if you work that correctly, please, we just pray that God continue to put butter on that amount so that it can be sufficient. But we can't increase it. Then I would like to go into give you a very short insight into the project that we are doing at PAPD. You will recall that during our last stakeholder engagement, I had said that for parastatal pensioners, we have not been able to recompute your monthly pension. What we are paying from August 2015 has been based on your inherited monthly pension, what you got from your agencies. The only adjustment that has happened is the consequential pension adjustment of 2019. So, while we have done verification and was made attempt to bring some integrity to that payroll, but the question of whether we are paying what is right has still not been answered. So we started a project towards ensuring that we can recompute the monthly pension of everybody on the payroll and pay them what is right based on those 3 parameters that I mentioned: your career detail, salary structure, and pension increment. And why did this happen? You know that when we took over in August 2015, like my colleague, Madam Ineka, had said, what we got was just electronic Excel records of your name, serial number, name, bank name, account number, and then your monthly pension. Whether that figure is correct or not, we don't know. None of those records or figures was supported with any database. But we continue to pay in trust and good faith from that time till now. And of course, you know that with any record that is transferred that doesn't have any database support, there are going to be intended and unintended errors in those records. So one of the things that we did to sort of bring some bit of sanity was the verification that we did in 2019 to remove the wheat from the chaff, those who are qualified or eligible from those who are not qualified or eligible. And that exercise, we were able to remove close to 20,191 from the pension payroll that we inherited. However, in spite of the far-reaching effect of that exercise, it has still not answered the question of wrong monthly pension, inaccurate monthly pension, whether intended or unintended. So this project was designed to recompute the monthly pension of every pensioner on the payroll, with the exception of defunct agency pensioner that we have computed before we enrolled them, and some of our senior citizens that we brought into the payroll through the Not on Payroll project. When we compared the payroll and the verification database, we were able to identify 76,095 pensioners who are being paid monthly pension based on the inherited monthly pension that we took over with in August 2015. It is possible that some of these, our pensioners, are not earning the right pension. And when we say they are not earning the right pension, please, let me sound a note of warning. Not earning the right pension might mean that they are underpaid. Not earning the right pension might also mean that they are overpaid. So we want to make sure the scale can balance. And the project started on Monday, 7th of November, 2022, and we hope we can complete it as soon as possible. What will the project do? For every pensioner on that list of 76,095, we will determine their accurate monthly pension based on those 3 cooking ingredients that I talked to you. Now, when we determine it, we will then apply it onto their payroll, kick off the old one, move away from Old Testament, go to New Testament. 3, when we determine that computed monthly pension and the inherited monthly pension, we will compare. For example, if Mr. A was on 10,000 on the inherited pension, and when we recompute, we discover he's supposed to collect 15,000, we will categorize him as short paid and put 15,000 to replace it. If you check Mr. B's own, and we discover that he was getting 15,000, and he was supposed to get 10,000, we will categorize him as overpaid and take him back to 10,000. Then if we check Mr. C and discover that he was earning 10,000 naira, and when we compute, it's 10,005 naira, we'll put 10,005 naira there and put no change, because that variance is not significant. If it is 9,990 naira, and we compute 9,992 naira, we'll put 9,992 naira there and put no change, because the difference is not significant. So every member on that list of 76,095, you must be able to categorize them into those 3 groups: short paid, overpaid, or no change. Then we will write you a letter. Every one of you that's on that 76,095 list will get a letter that will state how we arrive at your monthly pension and your categorization, whether short paid, overpaid, or no change. I hope I can expand this. This is the sample of how the letter that will come to you. First of all, it will have one section that will talk about your pensioner profile, your name, the agency you worked with, your date of first appointment, your date of last promotion, the grade level and step of your last promotion, the grade level and step at your retirement. You know, federal government law says that for every year you get 1 step increment. Now, for example, if your last promotion was grade level 9, step 10, and you now retire 3 years after, your step at retirement will be grade level 9, step 13. We'll put it there. Then we'll put your account number, whether it is correct or not, and your bank name. Because we have a lot of instances where some of the failed payments we are having is because account number is correct, bank name is wrong, and it will fail. Somebody that has account with Union Bank, by the time our papa is writing, they will write Unity Bank. So we'll put that. That is the first stage. The second area would be, what is your TPE, your total pensionable emolument? What is your annual pension? What are the increments that we have applied to date to arrive at what is your new pension now? That is that computed monthly pension. Then we'll then put your inherited monthly pension and compare and say whether you are short paid, whether you are overpaid, or whether it is no change. And then we'll then tell you which month's payroll are we going to start implementing that new monthly pension? We'll put it there. And we'll ask that if you require any clarification, please get in touch with us. That letter states fully everything that went into determining your new monthly pension. So with that letter, if we have made any mistake, since no human being is perfect, you can raise any point of correction and say that you are entitled to this, but you cannot find it in the pension increment. And we can respond to you. In that letter, we will also show you the salary structure that we applied in determining your pension. So everything will be declared. With this kind of communication, we believe that we can reduce the issues of those complaints that usually come up between us. So that both of us can see 6 and call it 6, or see 9 and call it 9. Not any one of us saying, no, this is 6, no, this is 9. That is why we designed and felt that we will share this. Every one of you that their monthly pension is recomputed will receive a letter like this. Then, you know, I mentioned short paid, overpaid, or no change. Now, I'm sure as I talk about short paid, some of you have started thinking about arrears. No, be so? Okay. Now, we will request, if you are short paid, we will request for you to bring your bank statement from retirement to 31st of July 2015. Because we started paying you pension from August 2015. For what happened before we took over, the only way we can ascertain is a bank statement. The second other way we can ascertain is to write to your agency to give us the record of all the payment they paid to you. You know, I said Ptad is one of the few agencies that has federal auditors sitting inside. Papa, Mama, let me tell you, if there is no bank statement or letter from agency, she of arrears, we cannot pay. We cannot pay. If we write all the beautiful grammar in the world, it won't fly. We have to get the bank statement or the letter from agency saying all the money you are paid. We will then reconcile. Because where is reconciliation necessary? Madam Mineka talked about the very unpalatable situation of pension management prior to the reform. We've had instances of where people were paid what is due. So if you have chopped breakfast 3 times before we took over, but you will miss lunch when we took over, there is no free dinner in Freetown. Whatever you have chopped wrongfully, we don't need to take purge. When we do that reconciliation, you go come out. Because it's about figures. Figures don't lie. So any excesses that you have taken in the past and we compare to what you ought to collect, it will net it off. And that is where the bank statements and the records of payment received from the agencies are quite essential. Then we will take a decision on accrued short payment arrears or overpayment liability applicable to each pensioner and notify them accordingly. Like I said, it is easy to address the issue of short payment. Why? Because the money is coming from the purse of the federal government. Now, for those of you who are overpaid, I think the English proverb is that what is good for the goose is good for the tolo. Always joku. Thank you, sir. If government chop from you, it should pay you back. But if we chop from government too, you should pay back. So, for overpayment too, you will get a love letter from us. So that is the only thing I will say. I will leave it there. We believe that this initiative will help us to eliminate or reduce the incident of complaints of short payment or wrong pension from pensioners. If we do this and we share that letter with you, all these complaints or worry or concern, am I taking the same thing, will go away. Because everything that is supposed to be used in determining, you will see it. If it is not correct, you can tell us. If you are wrong, we'll correct. But when we explain to you and you see that what we have done is right, you accept, and complaints will fly away. Then it will also help us to eliminate or reduce the incidence of data discrepancy between our verification database and our payroll records. Then it will help us to enhance the quality and depth of the information that is available on our payroll. You know, we have 278 agencies across 7 sectors. One of the things this exercise will help us to do is we will identify professors, put it against their name. We will identify, in university, we have academic staff and non-academic staff. Academic staff, their salary structure is different. Non-academic staff, their salary structure is different. We'll be able to identify and categorize them, so that Peter will not go to the house of Paul and shop his food without permission. Then health sector, we'll be able to identify and categorize medical staff, separate them from non-medical staff. The law says that Section 6 pensioners who are killed, not died in active service, who are killed in the course of duty, their dependents are entitled to pension, children up until they are 18 years, wife forever until death, so long as she remains of good behavior. We should be able to identify Section 6 on the payroll, so that when a Section child becomes 18 years, we can have an answer and say, bye-bye, the meal is over. Right now, we don't have that. We should be able to identify our severed pensioners, who are, by virtue of the law that guided severance, for any one of them that is matured, that is qualified for pension by the years of service, they are supposed to earn pension immediately from the date of severance. You know, part of the benefits that BPSR will pay them is 1-year pension, gratuity, relocation allowance, and some compensation. The law says that irrespective of their age, even if they are not up to 45, they should start earning pension immediately. We should be able to identify those ones. And then finally, to identify state with federal share pensioners, because their own entitlement to is distinct and separate. This exercise will help us do that. And when we do that, we can then be able to resolve complaints faster than we used to do before. In conclusion, and similar to the pledge and commitment that Madam Nneka and the ES had made, Ptad has an unwavering commitment to pay what is right. Pay this money to who is right. If Charles is the one that works, Chinedu should not be the one collecting pension. And that is what we find that is happening now. And based on the right parameters, you can't work in Ministry of Finance. I'm using salary structure of Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And based and in line with the law. That commitment is unshakable. We are regularly and continuously reviewing our payroll and cleaning it up. So even if we have not found you out, very soon we will. No matter how much a snail hide, now small picking go pick up. Number 2. My screen is gone. We want to fulfill the maxim that is inherent in our mandate, and which is 1 pensioner equals 1 pension. It does not matter the number of agencies you work for. We consolidate and pay from 1 pay point. The idea of collect from Umaya, collect from Okigwe, collect from Lagos, collect from Ibadan. So long as you submit all your career details, we know and we are convinced that you legitimately worked in these places. We'll consolidate and pay from one point. So that one pensioner equals one pension. And finally, we are also able to provide a conclusive response to your inquiry on your eligibility or qualification, your entitlement computation-wise, and then the payments that we made to you. I want to believe that if we all have a shared understanding of these parameters, what it takes to compute pension and all the salary structures, some of the complaints that we've been having or the concerns and the arguments will not arise. We need your help to help transmit this information to those that are at home and your colleagues. We know that times are hard, but please let us understand, until the every 5 years pension increment, there is no way Ptad can adjust your pension. Thank you very much, my father and mother.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kabiru. Let's give him another sound round of applause. So, as we say when we are debating, we hope with these few points of ours, we have been able to convince and not confuse you that Ptad is working for you. Everything as itemized in that presentation is as it should be. Now, we've all been sitting down for a very long time. So please, with the Executive Secretary's permission, please, I'd like all of us to get to our feet. Let's shake up a little bit. DJ, let's have some music so that let's shake ourselves.
Passion. I'm like, slow down before you crashing. Never mind him, he ain't thinking about you or the way we sex. On the villa.
So let's stretch our hands.
Daddy, please, I'm taking it all from the stash to the keys. So let me see. Boy, I'm about to dead my
shake,
for you.
Stretch,
when it's
shake.
all said and done, I got plans for you.
All right. Let's raise our hands up. Up. All right. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Let's put some groove in it. Move the waist. Left, right, left, right. All right. Shake your legs if you can. Left, right, left, right. All right. Are we good? A round of applause for yourselves. You can all sit down. Thank you very much. DJ, thank you. Thank you very much. So, we've been able to shake the weariness out of our bones. Let's move on to the next presentation. Before I move on to the next presentation, I'd like to ask, do we have participants in the hall who came in today from out of state who don't have accommodation? Do we have? Okay, we've got that sorted, all right? Please, you give your names to my colleague, Imabong. Imabong is sitting at the back of the hall. Imabong, please, can you please stand up? Please, you give your names to Imabong, and we'll have that sorted out before the end of the program. Thank you very much. So the next segment is also going to be quite interactive. Most of you seated here have benefited from trainings that we've had for pension desk officers and pension union executives on the I Am Alive confirmation solution. During the presentation on the new narrative, the presenter spoke about the I Am Alive confirmation solution, which is the next best step for Ptad. And so to handle this next point, I'd like to invite the Deputy Director, IT Department, Ms. Judy Membo. Please, a round of applause as she comes up.
Good afternoon, Executive Secretary Ptad, directors, esteemed pensioners. We thank you for your patience thus far. We are going to give you an overview of what the AMALIFE confirmation, solution, and application is all about. We are going to demonstrate, first of all, by giving you a clips, an animation clips of what this exercise entails. So please sit back and wait. Once that is over, then we'll now have the practical demonstration with each and every one of you, where you're going to have a feel of how you can make use of the application using your mobile phone or using the desktop application. Thank you. So please sit back and watch.
Hello, my name is Hello, my name is Dr. Chioma Ejikeme, the Executive Secretary of the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate. And here is how you can complete your aliveness check using the I Am Alive confirmation process.
The I Am Alive confirmation solution is a web-based software designed to enable pensioners easily confirm their aliveness from the comfort of their homes or neighborhood using either a smartphone or a computer system. For the facial confirmation, log on to Ptad website www.ptad.gov.ng. Click on the I Am Alive tab at the top of the page. This will take you to a page showing you the steps for the I Am Alive confirmation. Scroll to the bottom of the steps. Click on Proceed to I Am Alive confirmation to start and follow the 2 steps validation process. 1. Enter your Ptad pensioners verification number. 2. Enter your bank account number. You're ready to begin. Take your photo. It will be validated with the existing picture in the Ptad database. Perform the aliveness check by moving your face to follow the moving object on the screen. When the aliveness check is completed, a confirmation page will display successful with a unique number. You will receive an SMS notification of the successful completion of the process. Congratulations! To use the fingerprint confirmation, you will need to access a computer system with fingerprint device for fingerprint capturing. Log on to Ptad website www.ptad.gov.ng. Click on the I Am Alive tab at the top of the page. This will take you to a page showing you the steps for the I Am Alive confirmation. Ensure that .NET desktop runtime is installed on the computer. Click here to download the I Am Alive setup folder. Extract all files and install on your computer, one after the other. After a successful installation of the I Am Alive confirmation desktop application, double-click on the application icon on the desktop to launch the application. 1. Enter your Ptad pensioners verification number. 2. Enter your bank account number. You're ready to begin. Place any of your fingers on the fingerprint device for capturing. If the fingerprint is successfully captured, it will display a success message box. When the aliveness check is completed, the pensioner will receive an SMS notification of the successful completion. Congratulations! For I Am Alive support, please call 0814 445 59 0818-424-2242 or 0818-424-2272 or email iamalivesupport@ptad.gov.ng. Ptad I Am Alive confirmation. Secure, safe, and reliable. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your apt listening. In no particular order, we are going to read out the list of pensioners and their names, and that would categorize the mode of application demonstration you're going to participate in. Please note that you're free, once you're done with either one, you're free to move around both the pensioners and the PDOs to see what the other option is. For example, if you're going to make use of the facial option for your phone, once you're done with that, you can move over to the back end where you have my colleagues who are doing the desktop and vice versa, so that you have an idea of how both concepts work. So in no particular order, we are going to read out the names of the pensioners according to your operational departments. And if you're for the mobile option, please remain on your seat. If you're for the desktop option, please you go to the back. We have 2 desk tables that have been arranged. My team are on ground to assist you. So we are going to read out the names in no particular order. Thank you.
Okay, so these names I'm reading out now are for the Civil Service Pension Department. Mary Etta Otosi. Are you here, ma? Please remain on your seat. You participate in the facial confirmation option. Mr. Johnson Barite. Okay. Please, you go to the back of the hall. You'll participate in the desktop option. The desktop option for the I Am Alive confirmation solution. That's at the back of the hall. Thank you, sir. Mr. Bartholomew Oniga. Are you here, sir? Mr. Bartholomew Oniga, please make your way to the back of the hall. You participate in the desktop option. Mrs. Mary Enyi Omini, please remain on your seat, ma. You participate in the facial option. Indio Christiana, are you here, please? If you are here, please remain on your seat. You participate in the facial confirmation option. Mr. Boniface Uyanga. Mr. Boniface Uyanga, please make your way to the back of the hall. You will participate in the desktop option. Mr. Felix Ene. Mr. Felix Ene, please remain on your seat. You participate in the mobile option. Ekpe Ofyong Efiwat. Please remain on your seat. You participate in the facial option. Mr. David Unku. Okay, Mr. David Okonumo. Please remain on your seat. You will participate in the facial option. Mr. David Unku. Please make your way to the back of the hall. Thank you. Mr. Felix Egbe. Please remain on your seat. You participate in the facial option. Mr. Otto Ubi Otto. Please make your way to the back of the hall. Mr. Ayo Kupiaga. Please remain on your seat, sir. You participate in the facial option. Mr. Ukpa Etim. Please make your way to the back of the hall. Mr. Ophiline, I hope I get that right. Mr. Ophiline Clarkson. Okay. Please remain on your seat for the facial option. Mr. Ikpi Eyong. Please remain on your seat as well for the facial confirmation. So this list now is for the Customs, Immigration and Prisons Pensions Department. Mr. Aaron Ehizulen. Please go to the back of the hall, sir, to participate in the desktop option. Mr. Adolphus Ibenku. Please remain on your seat to participate in the facial option. Mr. Agba Ogum. Mr. Agba Ogum, please remain on your seat. You participate in the facial option. Mr. Alfred Akideno. Mr. Alfred Akideno, please go to the back of the hall. You participate in the desktop option. Mr. Asukwo Akpan Udo, please remain on your seat. Mr. Asukwo Eyo Iyang, remain on your seat for the mobile option. Mr. Atim Iyang, please go to the back of the hall to participate in the desktop option. Mr. Benjamin Ubede, please remain on your seat to participate in the facial option. Mr. Emmanuel Iloba, please make your way to the back of the hall. Mr. Felix Okon Nsemo, please remain on your seat. Mr. Friday Iwebo, please go to the back of the hall. Mr. Ignatius Chukuma Mosindi, please make your way to the back of the hall. Mr. Ikedem Udo. For mobile option, please, you'll be participating in the facial option. Mr. John Afi, please make your way to the back of the hall. Mr. Otu Esien Otu, please remain on your seat. Mr. Peter Onyamelen, please remain on your seat. Mr. Samuel Amisin, please make your way to the back of the hall for the desktop option. Udwak Abakada, please remain on your seat. So the next list I'll be reading out is for the police pensioners. Mr. Ajumeta Uti, please remain on your seat. Mr. Aniedi Utok, please go to the back of the hall. Mr. Asukwo Okon Asukwo, please remain on your seat. Mr. Augustine Alexander Moffat, please remain on your seat. Mr. Bassi James, please make your way to the back of the hall. Mr. Bennett Osemeke, please make your way to the back of the hall. Mr. Edith Duke Bassi, please remain on your seat. Mr. Jacob, please remain on your seat. Mr. Jonah Udo Ekpo, please remain on your seat. Mr. Joseph Hogan Bassi, please make your way to the back of the hall. Please, do we understand what we're doing? We're trying to do a practical demonstration of the I Am Alive confirmation exercise. Most of you seated here are focal partners to Ptad because Ptad has at different times trained on how to use the I Am Alive confirmation. And so we're trying to do a practical demonstration using the facial confirmation option and the desktop option. The facial confirmation option using your mobile telephone, and then the desktop is using the fingerprint option. So please, as soon as we finish reading out these names, the participants who we've called, who will be participating in the facial confirmation option will get started. Already, those who are using the desktop option have moved to the back of the hall and have started the process. Thank you. Mr. Okon Ekpe, please remain on your seat for the facial option. Mr. Paul Ayimson, please remain on your seat. Mr. Philip Anselm Ayo, please go to the back of the hall. Mr. Richard John Uwa, please go to the back of the hall. Mr. Thompson Ekpe, please remain on your seat. The list now is for parastatals pensioners. Mr. Bath Bella Omunagbe, please remain on your seat. Mr. Bassi Essien Afia, please go to the back of the hall. Mr. Efyong Udom Akpan, please remain on your seat. Mr. Essien Johnson Asom, please remain on your seat. Mr. Felix Omagbemi Faka, please go to the back of the hall. Mr. God's Power Aduche Isiodu, remain on your seat. Mr. Matthias Asekame, please go to the back of the hall to participate in the desktop option. Thank you, sir. Mr. Moses Iluozo, please remain on your seat. Facial option. Mr. Rhodes Aseme, please go to the back of the hall. Mrs. Teresa Asukwo Imaga, please remain on your seat. Mr. Upong, Elijah Upong, please remain on your seat. And that's it for the list of participants who will be taking part in the practical demonstration. Yes, sir. You've not heard your name does not mean that you will not participate in this demonstration. The names that we've read out are the people whose data and details we'll use for this practical demonstration. So you can be part of either the facial confirmation or the desktop confirmation. It's just a way for us to understand and see the practical demonstration of what the solution is all about. Thank you, sir.
It's just for us to have a feel, in no particular, or just pick names randomly, just for us to see how you can use either of the modes of confirmation exercise. Please, we employ all Ptad staff to please come forward. Please, if you are being asked to remain on your seat, can you indicate by raising your hand so that our staff will come and meet you and teach you how to make use of the mobile options. Please, all Ptad staff, we employ you, in addition to IT staff, to please come out and assist our pensioners. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So this demonstration is going to go on for the next couple of minutes, and we please implore everybody to participate. Thank you. Please, all Ptad staff are required to participate in this exercise. All Ptad staff who are outside are required to come into the hall and participate in this exercise. Please, thank you very much. Please, can I have your attention? Some of you seated here have already successfully done your I am alive confirmation, and you've gotten text messages with the numbers. Good. So it doesn't mean that you can't participate with other participants who are here. It's just for you to have a further, deeper understanding of what the I am alive confirmation solution is all about. So if you've done using maybe the facial option, for instance, and you got a successful message, this will be also a very good time for you to participate using the desktop option. Because remember, you are focal partners in the success of the I am alive confirmation solution. Are we clear? Thank you very much for your attention. So those who were called for facial option, please raise your hand.
Twist my body like the exorcist. Hey, the way he licked his lips, he was macking. Truth of passion. I'm like, slow down before you crashing. Never mind him, he ain't thinking about you or the way we sex. On a villa up in Malibu. Marry who? Daddy, please. I'm taking it all from the stash to the keys. So let me see. But I'm about to dead my mans for you. When it's all said and done, I got plans for you. He said,
Right. Excuse me. Please, this is to all this Ptad staff that are supposed to be providing support to the pensioners. Can you all come in, please? Can you come into the hall, all Ptad staff? All Ptad staff outside. Can you come in, please? Ptad staff, can you come in, please?
Your attention. Okay, because we've realized that some of the participants will be having challenges probably with data connection and connectivity. So you can log on to Ptad Wi-Fi, any of these names that I'll call. So you have Ptad Stakeholder, Ptad MTN, SDI MTN. You can use any of these Wi-Fis, and the password is official1. So capital O, double F, I, CIAL1 using Ptad Wi-Fi. You can go to the back of the hall to ask any of the IT staff for any of these details. Thank you.
I'm lying in the midnight hour, holding you just like a dream. Love is never what it seems when you touch, and you're holding me the way you do. Girl, you make my dreams come true. You make my dreams come true. I just wanna be close to you and do all the things you want me to. I just wanna be close to you and show you the way I feel. She was a Gemini on the cusp of Mars. She holds me back or she goes too far, winding me up just to let me down. So emotional, gagged and down. There's more to this than meets the eye. A devil woman locked inside. With the full moon rising, I was scared. I think I was possessed. I just wanna be close to you. Do all the things you want me to. I just wanna be close to you. Show you the way I feel.
Chicago and them,
I fall
Don Juan and them. This is for y'all, the remix. Said I know that it's somebody's birthday tonight somewhere, and I know somebody's gonna celebrate tonight somewhere. I know one thing's for sure. I'm gonna put on my dancing shoes. Then I'ma hit the door and go out and step the whole night through. Step in the name of love. I'm gonna step in the name of love. Then I'm gonna clap in the name of love. Oh yeah, clap in the name of love. I'm gonna step in the name of love. Ooh, step in the name of love. In the name of love. Move in the name of love. See, I know there's somebody breaking out the champagne somewhere, and you can be sure that somebody's gonna make love night until the day. One thing's for sure. I'm gonna put on my dancing shoes. Then I'ma hit the door and go out and step the whole night through. Step in the name of love. Yeah. Step in the name of love. Whoa. Clap in the name of love. Yeah. Clap in the name of love. Said I'm gonna step. Clap in the name of love. Ooh. Step in the name of love.
Baby, I know why you want to let me go. All because I've been treating you so bad. Don't say goodbye, I didn't mean to make you cry. I'm in love with you, cause you're the best that I ever had. Just one more night. Just give me one more night. I promise I will make it feel alright. Just one more chance. All I need from you is one more chance to fill your life with a little bit of romance. Just give me one night to show you What's your name? Is it a Mrs. or is it Missing? If you smile yourself, I'd like to take you for a ride. We can check the scene and we can break it down. And we'll be singing, ooh la la la. Let's go dancing, ooh la la la. Come on, let's go reggae dancing, ooh la la la. Let's go dancing, ooh la la la. This is where I wanna be. Reggae dancing, right here with my loved one, smoking on some weed. You got chronic, won't you light it up?
Now who's that kicking in the gate for the West? Shade pop with blows that seep holes in your best half. Nigga with the word, run up in your spot to talk shit. Where I'm from, we prone to lick shots. Now dog pound gangsters put me up on game. Now that I'm here, a lot of shit gon' change. Mr. Quick to buy a chain, Mr. Let the chain hang, showing off the broads. I'm Mr. Quick to get the bang. Now you might catch shites getting bitten every coast. Still the nigga with the heat, getting rid of every coast. Still fucking with mids, we run triz when we bored. And you know I got the act 20's what they hitting for. See me if you wanna score, cause I got what you need. Or you can see me at the club, tinted SUV. Getting in for free, I'm about to make my name known. Shites full of heist in this bitch just to get it on more.
Right here with my loved one, smoking on some weed. You got chronic, won't you light it up? Check this out. You see how I figure this thing. We can all take over this game. If we come together, do the shit right. We can all have a piece of the pie. How I figured this out. I just took a little trip down south. So I set foot off the plane. It was just like a family thing. The gangsters hard to deceive. So I took a little trip to the east. I'm not slow, so I can't wait for the game. I'm not broke, so I'm in bulletproof everything. Touchdown and act like I think. They ain't dripping off nothing but fame. So I quickly dispose of my shame. If we ain't got us, nigga, where I wanna be. Right here with my loved one, smoking on some weed. You got chronic, won't you light it up?
Hello, please, can I have your attention? Can I please have your attention? Do we have participants in the hall, pensioners, who have not done the I Am Alive confirmation before now? Do we have? Did you hear your names? You didn't hear your names? Not to worry. What you can do is make your way to the back of the hall and give your details to my colleagues in the IT department so that they can add you to the list and you can go ahead and do your own I Am Alive confirmation. Yes, sir. The back of the hall. Pensioners who didn't hear their names and who have never participated in the I Am Alive confirmation exercise, please make your way to the back of the hall. My colleagues will assist you. For the pensioners who made inquiries about the various presentations that we've had here today, please, the pension union executives are requested to submit their emails to the registry where you came and you registered this morning. Kindly submit your emails to the registry and the various presentations will be forwarded to you. And also, I had made an earlier announcement for participants who came in from out of state today and don't have accommodation. We have provisions for that. Please meet my colleague, Imabong, to write your names down, and you'll be attended to before the end of this event. While the practical demonstration is ongoing, I will also be making further announcements when lunch is served. For those who have done the facial confirmation already, please, you can also join the practical demonstration for the fingerprint option. No knowledge is lost. It will help if you have an idea of how both options work, so you can very easily advise your fellow pensioners. Thank you very much.
I never thought that I'd find someone like you. I feel hypnotized with the things you do. I'll never let me. I have to let you know, forever you and me. Only you can make me happy, happy. Only you can make me happy, happy. You must be heaven sent, sent into my life, and I compliment you, baby, baby. We have a love that's strong and true. It's true in every way. I want to be with you each and every day. Only you can make me happy, happy. Only you can make me happy, so happy. Only you can make me happy, happy, happy. Only you can make me happy, so happy, yeah.
Hello? How you doing, baby? You know, I was just thinking about you. I'm glad you called. But you coming right over?
You must understand, the touch of your hand makes my pulse react. That it's only the thrill of boy needing girl opposites attract. It's physical, only logical. You must try to ignore that it means more than that. Oh, what's love got to do? Got to do with it. What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do? Got to do with it. Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? It may seem to you that I'm acting confused when you're close to me. If I tend to look dazed, I read it someplace. I've got cause to be. There's a name for it. There's a phrase that fits. But whatever the reason, you do it for me. Oh, what's love got to do? It's got to do with it. What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do? Got to do with it. Who
Yo, nowadays girls be out for the money and things, but to me it's so sweet when I'm running my game. I give them nothing but game till it's stuck in their brain. So once it's stuck in their brain, then my fun to begin. I'm in the woman, looking for a special woman that's gonna give me what I need anytime I want it. I take a cruise to a river, I bring you with me, then let you float out on the beach with the string in your G. I need a pretty mama, city mama, diddy bopper. Like to go to great adventures in the mini chopper. That get her own chips, push your own six, and make me do my sits when I finish my dips.
Things like find a man with a deal that still wanna swing. Always speak my mind whenever I feel things. Probably got no wins, but I'ma still swing. And my real chicks feel what I mean. Am I right? Am I tight? Do the shit, bring it to the light. It's my body so right, I could even track a dike. Baby stays, baby stays. While you was loving John Doe, I copped the condo. While you was laying back down, I was laying tracks down. See for a fact now, it's intact now. It's no need to beef. It's my turn to eat. Bring the drama to a cease. Cars I don't leave. I push a greensy 3. Watch a screen TV. What? I'ma forever rise. Rings be texercised. Girls be petrified. It's a heavy mesmerized. I like it. I like it. I really, really like it. You want it, you know it, but you play hard to get. I like it. I like it. I really, really like it. Been around the world and I can't find my baby. I don't know when, I don't know why. Why he's gone away and I don't know where he can be. My baby, but I'm gonna find him
someday, some way.
Ooh, we had a quarrel and I let myself down. I said so many things he didn't know. I was so bad, and I don't think he's coming back.
Maybe someday.
He gave the reasons he should go. He said things he hadn't said before. He was so mad, and I don't think he's coming back. Coming back. I did too much lying, wasted too much time.
Right.
Now I'm here and crying.
Well,
Been around the world and I can't find my baby. I don't know when, I don't know why. Why he's gone away and I don't know where he can be. My baby,
I know that.
I'm gonna find him.
Searching to be black.
You're listening to
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Broken glass everywhere. People pissing on the stage, you know they just don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise. Got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice. Rats in the front room, roaches in the back, junkies in the alley with the baseball bat. I tried to get away, but I couldn't get far, cause a man with the tow truck repossessed my car. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. Standing on the front stoop, hanging out the window, watching all the cars go by, roaring as the breezes blow. A crazy lady living in a bag, eating out of garbage pails. Used to be a fag hag, such a dance to tango. Skipped the life and dango, a zircon princess seemed to lost her senses. Down at the peep show, watching all the creeps, so she could tell her stories to the girls back home. She went to the city and got so diddy. She had to get a pimp, she couldn't make it on her own. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head.
You're listening to
Hello? Hello again. How is it going? How is it going? We're enjoying the process. Is it easy? But it's mostly easy. Don't worry, it will get easier. All right? It's a process. It's a process that we need to all embrace. It's a change that we all need to embrace. So don't worry, the process will work. It's been a very interesting couple of hours listening to all the presentations from the various speakers and the various interactions that we've had here today. But this event has to end. All right? So we can come back tomorrow and continue. We have a stronger package for you tomorrow as well. But to give the vote of thanks at this time, please permit me, and please let's welcome him with a rousing round of applause, the Director, Customs, Immigration and Prisons Pensions Department, Alhaji Abubakar Abdallah.
Good afternoon, daddies and mommies. You all agree with me that the day has been a good one. Hello? I will, on behalf of the Ptad management, acknowledge and, of course, appreciate the presence and attendance of all of our daddies and mommies here. You all agree with me that it's been a fulfilled day. And we're hoping that by tomorrow, it will be greater. On behalf of the management of Ptad, headed by our able, committedly committed, determinedly determined, and ever militant Executive Secretary, we wish you safe journey back to your hotels so that you can come back tomorrow stronger and more lively. Once again, we wish you a sound rest. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdallah. And that effectively brings to a close our event for today. Thank you all for being such great company. Don't forget, we're back here again tomorrow, 9 o'clock, for day 2, which is also packed with a lot of information. Please try not to miss it. And with the Executive Secretary permission, Ma, lunch is served. Remember where you had breakfast? Please make your way to the overflow upstairs where lunch is served. Have a great evening and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.